Oh, they talked you into filling out that, huh?
Hello.
Yeah, they're really twisting their arms.
Hello.
Yeah, Logan really beat him
Hey, Rolf, how are you?
up. Yeah, like one of the first things Logan did.
Okay,
Logan went because my-
I'm here at the fire station on the central. When you get to the
Logan went
end or
because-
something, maybe you can call me and I'll meet you.
Oh, you did? That's awesome.
He's so funny. So
All right.
funny.
Thank
Was
you.
this the one you were talking about, or didn't you have one a couple weeks ago too?
Not you, it's just.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, no. I need to, I just, I need to, like, yeah, who do you hear?
Window cleaner.
And she's down in
You know?
San Jose,
So we're-
down by the gas and liquor,
Is that what you
Yeah.
used?
you know, get back in that little
What,
area.
take windows?
How much did she charge?
A whole hour and a half. It's better than mine. Oh, good job.
Expensive, you know, like,
Well, she'll,
no, I know, but it's like, it's after you go.
Okay, welcome everybody.
Spend like $6.
Yep, we're down here at the Elfrida Fire Department
And it's
doing a
such a
safety
fact to me
lecture.
that health insurance doesn't cover
And we
massage.
are connected to their Wi-Fi, so we're hoping that we've got a nice clear signal here. I see our KBN is piling in on YouTube, yeah, and we got TikTok.
Massage is the best thing you can do. If I had a lot of money, I'd be getting.
So the calls are pouring in.
I get it.
yeah.
Well, I'm not sure there's anything we can do about that, Medtech. Maybe I'll try switch into a different network on here. Here, let me give you this. And see, Medtech said it's kind of pixelated, so I'm gonna see what I can do about that.
See if I'm right here.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. Just tell me to move if you need me to.
All right, let's see.
Don't get,
All right, let's see.
don't get.
Do you have anybody coming on here? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Facebook is clear.
So we're looking good
Facebook is
in the
clear.
hood. All right, everybody. Well, welcome to the Hive. I'm Reed Booth, Killer Bee Guy. This is Hosha. We're here, going to be manning the slideshow. And we have Lois Lane on camera action. She's been with us for a couple of months now, and fearless in the bee suit. Yes, fearless. So we're talking about killer bees, of course. Come on in, you guys.
How are you?
Oh,
Welcome.
wonderful, wonderful. Find a seat.
You just can't get enough of us, can you?
So we're talking about something that if you haven't dealt with it yet in this county, you will. Also, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, right? All right, Killer Bee Nation, you're back with us. We warned you where we're going to be doing another training, and we are. 2 days from now, we're doing a training up in for Fry Fire over in Sierra Vista on South 92. We're doing training for them. We've had so many calls today, it's ridiculous. We had like 6 calls today, and so it's already starting. It's 80 degrees out there. What the hell? You know, it's the 1st of February. Of course, we're not complaining. The rest of the country's in hell. But we have killer bees to deal with, so we're going to be live streaming for the rest of our lives, apparently. But we're talking today to this fire department. We're in Elfrida about killer bees. This is rural. We're out in the country, and killer bees are still everywhere. Of course, if they're in populated areas, they don't really bother anybody that we know of until they attack us, and wherever we are, well, there's going to be more problems. Now, we've still had plenty of problems out here in Cochise County, in the Elfrida area, Sunsites. Everybody knows. Everybody's had to deal with these things, and if you haven't, you will. So we're going to be talking about the Africanized honeybees, what they are, the history and the spread, how they behave, their impacts on humans and agriculture, and management and control measures. So they're not going away, for one thing. All right, they're here to stay, which is kind of a pain in the ass because we would love to get rid of them, but it's a case by case study. It's a battle to battle is what it is. So what happened? All right, these are man-made. These bees were created by humans. So in 1957, at the request of the Brazilian government, a Dr. Warwick Kerr went to South Africa to procure pure African queen bees for experiments in crossbreeding with European honeybees. So you got African and European honeybees crossbred to make Africanized. They're called Africanized because that's the dominant gene. All right. The European is not the dominant. The African gene is. So the whole reason for it was increased honey production. Brazil wanted to be a bigger producer on the world honey producing stage, and they got it, but at what cost, right? And so they led to the creation of our Africanized honeybee. Now, they have big differences, actually. The African bees, like I said, were better honey producers and also very disease resistant. The African bees were better honey producers, whereas the European bees are sickly, and they didn't make as much honey, and they're not really aggressive, of course, which is why we like them, but these guys are better at everything. Africanized bees, the crossbreed, the African bees were known to do all this, but the crossbreed, that's even better, or worse, as the case may be. So they, before they were bred, before these Africanized bees were bred, Brazil, like I said, was not a very big producer of honey, mainly because of the European honeybee. They're very sensitive, as it were. Now, it worked, like I said, they're like ninth in the world. It's just amazing. They produce a lot of honey, but again, at what cost? So how they got out? Okay, now the Dr. Warwick Kerr was a very responsible scientist, and he had them in an enclosed area for crossbreeding experiments. And there are ways that we can keep our hives from swarming, which is nature's way of dividing and conquering. Nature's way of populating the area with bees is swarming. And we put a screen at the entrance of the hive so that your queen, which is bigger than the worker bee, cannot get out and take 10 or 20% of those bees to go find a new place to live. So the worker bees, which can come and go through that screen, still have to kind of wriggle through it a little bit. So one of the guys, oh man, a new assistant in 1957 or 58 did not get the memo, and Dr. Warwick Kerr went to a conference in Apollo, actually, and this guy walked by and saw the screens on these hives and saw the bees wriggling to get through and thought he'd do them a favor and take the screens off, and they escaped. And so to this day, they spread out in every direction at about 300 miles a year. And of course, south and west from Brazil, that's not too far, but north, hell of a long way. And they came into Texas in 91, Arizona in 93, at which time I was keeping European honeybees up by the tunnel in Bisbee. Had like 20 or 30 hives, something like that. By the mid-90s, I was watching clouds of my bees chase cars down Highway 80. And as amusing as that may be, it's like maybe we shouldn't do that because they became Africanized. Next to impossible to keep your bees from becoming Africanized. So we used to send samples up to the Carl Hayden Bee Institute and the laboratories in Tucson at their request for testing a percentage of Africanization. Like, what the hell's going on here? What's this invasion? By 1998, 5 years after they requested that, thousands of samples of bees went up to them from anybody that had anything to do with bees in southern Arizona. 1998, they called up everybody and said, don't send anymore. It's over. We're throwing samples away. They're all Africanized. That's back then. They still are. There are no European feral hives in the state at all. They are not reverting. And all the way back even in 2018, there was a stinging incident in Manchester, New Hampshire. They had already spread that far. So they're not going to stop. And they're, of course, already in all the lower 48 and Ontario and Alberta. So this is, I want you guys to stare at these two pictures. One of them, or is one of them, Africanized and one European. Okay, spot the difference. Yeah, you're right, there isn't one. They look exactly the same. That's the problem. You can't tell by looking at a honeybee if it's Africanized or European. It's a real problem, especially for small beekeepers who think they can, because you can't. They're exactly the same. The difference is genetics. All right? So they look exactly the same. Now, there are three ways that we know of honeybees that can be kept by people or in the wild. There's feral, all right, bees out in the wild. There are the big boys who take bees around for pollination. Bees are listed as livestock by the USDA. That's what honeybees are listed as livestock. So the big boys now, they're responsible beekeepers. They are professionals, just like cattle breeders or horse breeders. They breed their own queens. They know exactly what they're doing. Then there is the backyard beekeeper that does not know what they're doing, but thinks they do. That's, as everyone knows, a lot more dangerous than, knowledge is dangerous. A lot is good. And so the problem with it is these guys know what they're doing. The backyard beekeeper cannot contain their bees, cannot control their breeding, does not raise their own queens. Then there's what we deal with mostly out here. You guys and all first responders and us, feral hives. Bees living under people's sheds, up in the eaves, in a hollow tree, in a, they'll live anywhere. You guys know that, So this gets really interesting because we're going to pull the wool back off of everybody's eyes about honeybees. Everybody asks us about native honeybees or normal honeybees. All right, when we think of our nice little honeybees we used to love, we called them European honeybees, right? European honeybees. Oh, wait a minute. I've never heard of an Alabama honeybee. Never heard of a Latin American honeybee or a Southwestern honeybee. No. Honeybees are invasive to the Western Hemisphere. There were no honeybees in the state of Arizona before 1872, ever. They were brought here by colonists. Hosch has done a lot of studies on this and has found evidence of letters written by colonists on the East Coast in the mid-1600s back to Europe saying, send my honeybee hives, there aren't any here. Native Americans hated them so much they called them white man's flies. And that was nice bees, the nice honeybees. So they brought them over on their covered wagons and whatnot. They came into California first in 1850 because of the gold rush. So they are an invasive species. Now, when the European honeybees, which are very nice and docile, when they were nice and gave us honey and didn't try to kill us, well, being myopic humans like we are, we didn't pay any attention to what they do to native environment. Any invasive species has never benefited the natural environment they have invaded. They've never benefited the native environment they've invaded. So this really came to a forefront in our brains as citizen scientists with the Africanized, all right? So they basically, here we go, European honeybees are an invasive species, Africanized are a deadly invasive species. That crossbreed is so much more aggressive, deadly invasive species. So a real problem that we have with an invasive species such as this is you cannot keep it in your backyard. They need, with the Africanized, they need a 3-mile radius to literally torture the native environment. They outcompete native bees. These Africanized bees, European bees not so much, but we don't have them anymore anyway. Africanized honeybees will kill or drive off native pollinators on flowers. They're hoarders, they're total Vikings. They take way more than they need. They're absolutely horrible for our native environment. So all of these, Africanized and European, have the same basic bad traits, along with the Africanized killing people, pets, and livestock. In this county alone, in the summer, every week they kill a dog, a horse, or a goat. Every week. We deal with the ranchers out here almost daily, all the way from San Simon over to, well, we do removal for Homeland Security also, and we go to Yuma, all right, if need be. They are everywhere, and they kill people, pets, and livestock everywhere. In Latin America, they kill people every single day. So this is a very interesting video that was put up. It's a German vid, actually, and it's called We're Saving the Wrong Bees. So sit and watch this because it really drives home the point about this invasive versus native pollinators. We got to get this through people's heads because when we say save the bees, okay, which ones?
Weird, fuzzy, and in a lot of trouble. These insects are actually all bees, wild ones. And they're debatably more important than the honey-making kind. People are really worried about bees.
We take the plight of the honeybee for granted at our own peril.
But what most people don't know, honeybee numbers are increasing worldwide. Not just that, but the way humans use honeybees makes them a problem. Putting a honeybee hive in your backyard doesn't help. Because you're saving the wrong bees. Animals are involved in the pollination of 90% of the world's flowering plants. And when you think of pollinators, the honeybee probably comes to mind. That's because honeybees and humans have an ancient relationship. Bees have been managed for thousands of years.
There's a lot of evidence that it played an important role also in the ancient cultures in Egypt and in Greece. And so beekeeping has always been very widespread.
Axel is the chair of the Invertebrate Conservation Committee at the IUCN. Honeybees are native to Asia, Europe, and Africa, but nowadays are everywhere except Antarctica. Apis mellifera is the most common honeybee and the best studied, although there are another 10 known species. They're general pollinators, meaning they will pollinate most plants. And although honeybees are at risk from pests and disease, the number of colonies worldwide is actually growing. According to the FAO, managed hives have increased worldwide by 83% since 1961.
Because they're always managed by the beekeepers and also receive veterinary treatment and so on, there's no risk that they will become extinct.
But honeybees aren't the only bees.
The general public confounds bees with the honeybee.
This is Isabel, a pollination ecology researcher specializing in urban environments.
It would be the same situation if, for example, you were talking about birds and people think that when you talk about birds, you talk about chicken.
There are around 20,000 different species of wild bees, and they are the most important wild pollinators. They're mostly solitary, and unlike honeybees, are suited to specific plants, which makes them much better at pollinating. A hectare of apples, for example, would require tens of thousands of honeybees to pollinate, but only hundreds of this wild bee, because Osmia cornuta is particularly good at apple pollination.
Each flowering plant is strongly connected to a pollinator that fits accordingly to the lock and key principle.
An entomologist by training, Sabrina is a project manager at the Research Institute of Organic Agriculture.
This perfect fit between flower and its selected pollinator is the product of an ongoing co-evolution for centuries that is still operating.
Like the squash bees native to Central and South America. They're perfectly suited to squash plants. They're early risers, and squash flowers are only open early in the morning, while the honeybees are still asleep. Don't like squash? How about tomatoes, potatoes, or eggplant? These crops also need wild pollinators, loud ones like bumblebees to be precise. Their flowers require a vibrating buzz to release their pollen, something a bumblebee perfectly provides. Honeybees just don't have that skill. But wild bees are in serious decline. And this doesn't only affect them and their ecosystems, but our food security as well. Worldwide, wild bee diversity has been decreasing each year since the 1990s. Pesticides, intensive agriculture, especially habitat loss, are main drivers. A recent study found that we may have already lost a quarter of wild bee species, but assessment is hard due to the lack of global data. Various regional estimates suggest over 40% of wild bee and butterfly species are threatened. Farmers are already noticing a difference.
When they walked along a field, everything was full of pollinators, and nowadays it's more like everything is calmed down and nobody knows where they are.
This loss of diversity can cause knock-on effects on whole ecosystems. Less pollinator diversity means fewer wild plants. This can hurt animals that use them for food or shelter. And it's also bad for the future of our food.
The yield of cultivated plants is higher when they are visited by a variety of pollinators compared to when they are visited by only honeybees.
Remember Osmia cornuta, the apple specialist?
Most of the pollination of apple trees is performed by several species of wild bees. So if you don't get these wild bees, you get a crop of apples that would be reduced.
US crops are already producing less due to wild pollinator decline. And globally, we're planting more and more of the crops that require animal pollination, like fruits, vegetables, and oilseeds. The increase in honeybees hasn't kept up. This means pollinator dependence has increased around 70% since 1961. And combined with the decline in wild pollinators, means an emergency for the global food supply. This is especially true in countries with many large monocultures. that destroy wild pollinator habitats like China and the United States. Not only that, the way we use honeybees actually makes them a part of the problem. According to the American Beekeeping Federation, 2/3 of the 2.7 million honeybee colonies in the US are used for pollination. Most go to the almond fields in California, where 80% of the world's almonds come from. Then bees rotate around the country to pollinate other crops. Nowhere else in the world uses honeybees for pollination like the US, but the trend is growing in Europe too, as wild pollinators disappear. Unfortunately, it's not so good for the honeybees. They can be exposed to pesticides from the crops or catch diseases from the other colonies. And these honeybees are also a threat to wild ones.
Within a honeybee hive, you have tens of thousands of individuals that need a lot of food. They will eat most of the floral resources. There will not be enough left for the other pollinating species.
If you have many bees, then they will probably outcompete this native species very fast.
Honeybees can also spread disease to wild bees. An infected bee can leave some virus on a flower to be picked up by the next wild bee that visits. It's not the honeybee's fault, but save the bees definitely does not mean adding more into the environment.
There have been a lot of people that thought that they could only save the bees when having their own beehives in the backyard, and that's the wrong way to conserve pollinators.
So what's the right way? Industrial agriculture is the biggest threat to all bees. It uses harmful chemicals and relies on huge fields of one crop. Ideally, we change our whole food system, but on a personal level, supporting small-scale sustainable farmers, if viable, also supports diverse habitats for wild bees. Even more can be done with a backyard, like leaving native plants alone or planting new ones. Open, sunny ground or dead logs also make great breeding spots for wild bees. But most of all, they need more attention. We need honeybees but aren't in danger of losing them. With wild bees, it's another story.
Did you have any idea wild bees were that cool?
They're weird.
So it basically boils down to that in invasive species, everyone knows what buffalo grass is, right? It'll be like saying, save the grass and planting a field of buffalo grass. In the Western Hemisphere, that's what keeping honeybees is. Because everyone has this, I call it the Winnie the Pooh brain. We're like, oh, it's Winnie the Pooh, it's so adorable, yeah. And of course, it didn't really come even to my attention until the little bastards started trying to kill me all the time. And then we started studying on their effect on the native environment. So no one's going to raise a crop of buffalo grass. It's the reason our wildfires are so hot now. And the same thing goes with honeybees. It's really hard, though, for people to get their heads around this. So we know that big ag needs, like I said, the USDA, these are livestock. That's what they are. If you've got 1,000 acres of almond trees, you need honeybees to pollinate them, just the way it is. But none of our food ever comes from feral hives or backyard beekeepers, period. So it's very interesting to try to get people to see the other side of this. It's like when facts are presented to you, well, personally, I absorb them and go, oh, I got to change the way that I think about it. And again, all of the bees in Arizona are Africanized. The state hates them. The state actually hates these things. And the next one is the law. Yep. Okay, so this is Arizona Revised Statute 36-601. I actually helped write it years ago. They came to me and said, we're getting too many lawsuits, 15 years ago or more. We're getting too many lawsuits in, the populated areas, Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tucson, etc., from these feral hives. Well, we determined that we're not going to keep people from, make them not keep bees. Managed hives is what we're talking about here. You got to keep an eye on them. But, number one here, any condition or place that constitutes a feral colony of honeybees that is not currently maintained by a beekeeper and that poses a health or safety hazard to the public. Legally, if you have a feral hive under your shed, you have to have it removed. Legally. Or in your tree. Or in a tire. If it's in white boxes and you're actually actively keeping them and taking care of them, then it's legal. The whole thing is liability. If someone gets stung from your hive that you have under your shed, you're liable. The state hates these things, as I do, of course, because I deal with the damn things every day. So that's the actual law on it, in case anybody asks you guys, because you guys are first responders. You're out there in the mix of it. So they are, the problem with these Africanized bees is they adapt every year. They change. Their European honeybees never did. We knew what to expect from them in Asia, Africa, and Europe, where they belong. People knew what to expect from them next week, next year, next decade, next century. They behaved the same within very small parameters. We knew what to expect from them. Not these Africanized honeybees. Just today, I just got a call from Bisbee Fire down there, and right when I was standing here, Andy called up and said, well, I got a weird one down on Bisbee Road in Warren, right out in front of the thrift store. A swarm landed on the pavement in the middle of the road. I was like, what in the hell are they going to do next? All this kind of behavior that we're seeing is totally unheard of. And I said, well, we're up here doing a training for Elfrida Fire Department. Get out the cops, block it off, and phone them down. And they did. Right before we went live that that they was taken care of. Bees building on tree limbs out in front of God and everybody. That's a new one. On pecan orchards. We just did a job for Andy earlier down on Frontier Road at the pecan orchard, the Alamo Ranch. And when they were shaking the trees, which is how they harvest the pecans, he had 4 exposed hives up there. They were dead hives, but there was like comb hanging off the tree limbs. European bees would never do that. So these bees change every year and adapt. And if anybody thought they couldn't live where it's cold, they were wrong. So of course we have swarming, as you guys know, and again, this is nature's way of propagating the area with bees. You've got a hive under your shed, and 10 or 20% of the bees will take off, go find a new place to live. You still have your old hive. A real problem with these Africanized honeybees is they will do that 30 times a year. That's 30 new hives a year per one hive. No shortage of this deadly invasive species. In fact, there's way too many of them. So it is, again, nature's way of propagating the area with the bees. Everything likes to take over an area, and these bees take over everything, of course. This gets a little bit, the mating of honeybees. I don't know if you guys know anything about it, but it's not pretty. So the virgin queen will hatch and will kill all the other queens in their cells. There's no democracy here. These guys are brutal, that's for sure. But there are 3 things that are never happen in the hive. There's no bedroom, no bathroom, and no cemetery. Okay, they would rather die than go to the bathroom in the hive. They take their dead out, because you got 100,000 bees in a hive. Bees die every day, and every day in an Africanized hive, around 2,000 bees are born every day. So bees die, of course. So they take their bees out. Then mating. There's no boudoir in the hive. She has to go on a mating flight, which is why we cannot control in feral hives who she mates with. She has to go on a mating flight. Emits a pheromone, a smell, the perfume Chanel No. B, right, to attract drones, males from feral hives, from neighboring hives. The Africanized drones are much better at catching up to her and mating with her, and of course it's a moot subject now because that's all we have. From one mating flight, this is really gets stranger. She'll mate with a couple dozen, 3 dozen drones in a few hours in an afternoon. She'll come back. Now, it's not pretty for the males, all right? When they mate with her, they literally explode and die. Yeah, no fun at all. Literally. So she returns to the hive, and this is how, if you have a European hive, your nice European hive can become Africanized. You have a virgin queen, goes out and mates, she's European, she mates with these Africanized drones, comes back with Africanized sperm, and lays Africanized eggs. So in 3 weeks, your hive's gone to shit. You have an Africanized hive in 3 weeks. 1,500, no, from that, this is more like science fiction, it's just weirder. Even after 30 years of doing this, I just shake my head. From that one mating flight, she'll lay 1,500 to 2,000 eggs a day for 5 years. What in the hell? I mean, these things are so bizarre. So, and they swarm, like I was saying, up to 30 times a year, which is 10 times more than European hives. Now, this video is so weird. This is one that we did a few years ago down on Wilson Road, down in Naco. I've never seen a swarm like this. This just goes into more weird behavior. You know, a normal swarm of bees is like a basketball hanging in a tree or something. You know, we've all seen them. Okay, check this out. This is just out in left field. Millions of bees. One swarm. That's not a hive. It's like
There's a small one here.
there's a swarm here, Frank. Hi, Jim. I've never seen anything like it since or before. Look at it. Right here. They're here. Thank you, executive. I have no idea what's going on with this.
Hello? All right, meet you outside.
That is solid bees from up there down. Feel it. Put your hand under there.
Oh,
No,
wow.
you put your hand under
I
there.
am.
No, not on my hand.
Wow. Okay, that's my hand. And this feels like I'm holding a small bag of sugar. Small bag of sugar.
Now they're starting to light up a little bit. It's horrifying to think there's millions of bees there, and it takes about 500 stings to equal a snake bite. They're all coagulating. I've never seen anything like it. The weirdness continues with these damn bees, and every single year I have to up my game, and mainly with aggression. We had a call from Bisbee Fire, was it last spring down in front of the Grand? Yeah. I think it was last spring. Sunday morning, 8 a.m. And they said, we're en route to a stinging incident. Can you meet us? This happens all the time, you know, all over the county. Sure, of course. Where? Out in front of the Grand in Bisbee. On Main Street? What the hell? And he said, yeah, 4 people attacked. So we went down there, and it turned out that it wasn't a hive anywhere. It was a swarm flying up Main Street, veered off and attacked 4 people unprovoked. What in the hell is going on? Aggression. Like I said, we have to up our game every year, mainly with aggression. So they will build anywhere. This is a video of, this is a pecan orchard north of here, just north of here a little bit. And this is of the places they will build. Just check this vid out.
Right?
We're in a pecan orchard out in.
Do you see that? It's like right kind of in center of the cameras. See the slightest bit of yellow because there's like layers.
Of course, they had to be 25 feet.
Wow. They're sneaking up on them.
Here we go, guys.
Pizza oven.
European bees will never
I think we got a class 5 here.
Wilcox under Eve.
Smoke doesn't work. We don't smoke Africanized beans. It doesn't work.
Agave skunk.
We're gonna take this whole thing.
They almost killed the owner the day before on this one.
Holy.
Under a
See
house.
that? Completely full of bees. Look at the size of that thing, you guys.
Converses.
And then more hives here. There's another one behind me. It looks like it's been treated. And then there's one further down the line. So this,
Wow, look, all the way to the top.
This is the first of the year.
Yeah, how you doing?
January 1st. First time in 25.
You can do it now. Reed used to do that.
This is Camp Newell down in Naco.
Any situations we're in.
A washing machine down on Frontier Road.
Wow.
And yes, there was an equal amount of that in the dryer right next to it. Totally different time.
wow.
That was not a Maytag, it was a Honeywell.
All right.
All right. I'll be here all week. Try the view. Anyway, of course, water meter boxes. Everybody knows they love to live in them damn things. We just did one yesterday. Something I can't keep track. You guys, it's been normally, you know, in the old days, from Halloween until the middle of March, there'd be nothing, zero zilch nada. Could go elk hunting, calm down, little deer hunting, whatever. Huh? Not anymore. All year round, and attacks all year round.
So when they were spraying in that wash machine, what were they spraying them?
Okay, that's what we use, and I came up with this. And you'll actually see in the video where we helped Bisbee Fire take a stinging victim out of a room into the ambulance because they couldn't because of the attacking bees. And so this idea came to me, made me feel like a genius, which don't take much. But it came to, because we use pyrethrin, of course, right? We're licensed with the state of Arizona. Of course, we actually teach for the Department of Ag for licensing, continuing education, and whatnot. We use pyrethrins normally to kill hives. But I got to thinking, well, because we take the money and the honey, if possible. So if we spray pyrethrins around, we got to throw it away. So I got to thinking, well, I don't care if they're dead or not. I just don't want them flying around. So we use spray adhesive. You know, like craft adhesive. You can use it in your house for doing crafts and shit, right? This is not a DIY channel, Killer Bee Nation. You don't try this at home. I got to tell these guys, they're always like, oh, I can do that. No, you can't. Calm down. Put down the spray adhesive and step away from the beehive. Behave yourself, you little. They're like kids. Jeez, we probably have 10,000 people watching us right now. Hey, what? Put down the. Anyway, not a DIY channel. Damn it. So spray adhesive. It sticks their wings together. They drop like rocks. It's like a 2-cycle motor when it seizes. Down, right? So we can knock down tens of thousands of them in a short period of time, non-toxically. So, well, not a bad idea, huh? So, what'll set them off? This has always been, it used to be pretty straightforward even with Africanized bees, and this is why beekeepers wear white. Now, in Asia, Africa, and Europe, honeybees' normal enemies are mostly each other, because every hive is an enemy of every other hive, or dark furry things, bears, honey badgers, etc. So, I said dark furry things. So, beekeepers wear white. So, they will attack dark colors, they will attack dark colors. Also, they go for the CO2 coming out of your nose and mouth, which is why you shouldn't jump into water. 95% of people that jump into water when they're attacked get killed because the bees will hang around for hours, literally, and go for the CO2. Bubbles coming up. And every time you come up to breathe, of course, it's a double drowning. You're drowning by water and killer bees. So I've done experiments actually where I'll have a tube inside my bee suit from my mouth down to my boot with a screen on my boot, and they're attacking my boot because I'm breathing down there to go for the CO2. Also, vibrations, everybody knows weed whackers and shit, anything, you know, any noise, diesel engines and whatnot. Bad sense of humor, well, mine definitely, nobody seems to get it, but, you know, that's a different story. And fragrance. They hate smells. I don't know why. They absolutely hate Old Spice. Go figure. I don't make any sense to me. I don't know. They don't like conditioners and whatnot. But it's really funny. I was out here at a ranch just north of here. I can't remember who the hell it was. I was telling this old rancher gal about it, and I said, you know, and they just for some reason really hate Old Spice. And she kind of walked away and said, who don't? I about died. I laughed so hard. Like, oh my God, man, that's funnier than hell right there. So they'll attack. We've come to the point where they'll just attack anything. We don't know what they're going to attack or why. So the stinging behavior. The stinger is a hypodermic needle. It literally is a hypo. The queen bee can sting, but there's only one of them in a hive normally. We've seen that change also in huge hives. There will be two queens. So they'll squirrel away. We don't want to sacrifice her. The drone bees, the males, they can't sting at all. They don't have a stinger at all. The rear ends are only good for one thing. Here's your imagination. We saw that slide already. The honeybees are the only bees in Hymenoptera that have a barbed stinger. That is why it sticks in your skin. Wasps and hornets don't. They can sting over and over again. Honeybees, it's like a fishhook. Sticks in there, and then they kill themselves. It's a kamikaze mission every single time. And so what it does is, of course, the venom contains the attack pheromone. So when you get stung that first time, you are the target. All right, they will fly past everyone else to get to you. On the other hand, after a bunch of venom's been released, We've seen the air so saturated with attack pheromone that they're stinging birds flying overhead, telephone poles, and tires on trucks. It's mayhem. On top of that, when you get stung, that venom, you can wash that pheromone off your skin. It's subcutaneous. It goes into your bloodstream. So for up to a week, depending on your metabolism, you're marked. It's horrifying. And of course, the more times you get stung, the worse it is. So they're, they don't wash off the, behavior. We got foraging and scout bees. These are bees that are on flowers or that are coming to where an old hive was. All right, when we do a removal, and we'll go into this in a little bit, we got two types of bees, remnants and robbers. So remember those. Foraging bees are bees on flowers. They're out farting around. They will go up to, the non-Africanized hives will go about 2 miles, whereas the Africanized need about a 3-mile radius, which I was talking about if you have a beehive in your backyard. Okay, if you could keep your bees in your backyard like your Rottweiler, you can keep your Rottweiler in your backyard, I hope, or your Chihuahua, or whatever the hell it is. If you could keep your bees in your backyard, more power to you, but you can't. They have to go up to a 3-mile radius and torture the native environment to get what they need as hoarders and Vikings to survive as an invasive species, and now deadly invasive species. So they are always out looking for something. They do not take a day off. They do not take a break, as we know. I mean, yes, it's warm out, but the last few years we've been doing swarms in the snow. It's just baffling what is going on with these guys. So back to this, robbers and remnants. Okay, after any removal, you've got 100,000 bees, and of course, as you guys know, and you saw in the vids, most of them come out to attack. All right, with European honeybees, you'd be lucky if you get a dozen out there to attack you. They didn't even really attack, but these guys will send out everybody. So when we leave, there's still a bunch of bees flying around and all that kind of thing. Well, we call those remnant bees because they're leftovers of the hive. But I always tell everyone they're like an amputated limb. All right, and the Killer Bee Nation has heard me say this over and over again, but I'm still going to preach it because it's a great analogy, so tough. You can live without your finger, but your finger can't live without you, right? So you have the finger left over after any removal. Now, I'm not saying which finger, but you know, we got the finger. So people always ask me, are my bees going to go find a new hive to join? Well, my amputated finger can't crawl over another human and join it. No, the analogy continues. People always ask me, are my remnant bees going to start their own hive? Oh, my finger can't go over there and start a new human, right? They are screwed. They belong to that organism. Every hive we see as an organism, much like ourselves, with each bee being a cell and the queen being the heart and the brain. They belong to that organism. Just like humans, every hive smells different to every other hive. Individual bees. This is how they know. And guard bees at the entrance to a hive, if a neighboring hive comes over to rob honey, they can smell her. They know she's an enemy. They're all enemies of each other. So the remnant bees are screwed. They will die off over the coming days. They never used to be aggressive. Of course, now they are, but we don't know from hive to hive how their behavior is going to be. And this is another interesting thing I want to bring up. People endlessly say to us, those are not Africanized. They didn't try to kill you. Oh, for God's sake. Okay. Animals or insects' behavior in the rest of the world as we know it, they never behave the same all the time. Why should Africanized bees? They don't. We don't know. That's the problem, though. We don't know from one moment to the next what to expect from them. So I tell everyone, if you've got a hive in your backyard, even if it hasn't attacked anybody for 10 years, it is a huge bomb with a very short fuse, and you have no idea what's going to light it. None whatsoever. So then you've got the robber bees. Robber bees, this is so fascinating. In a 3-mile radius, all the beehives know about each other. It's like an HOA from hell. But the only reason is in case they could steal honey from each other. So they know where that hive is, and they will send scouts over to try to sneak in and steal some honey. But the guard bees will kick them out or kill them. But once that hive is gone, those bees will still come sniffing around, hoping they can get some goods. It takes them about a week usually to figure out that there's nothing there and there's no reason to come around. So the robber bees, again, are like foraging bees. Bees on flowers are not supposed to be aggressive, but the remnant bees can be aggressive. So remnant bees are from your hive that you removed, and the robber bees are from neighboring hives. So, and this is another reason we preach this all the time. If your neighbor has bees, you have bees. Period. if nothing else from the swarming. Also, if you're running your weed whacker and your neighbor has bees under their shed, you know what can happen. It's not pretty. So our impact on humans and agriculture on these doggone things. The new record, it used to be 4 miles, but we were out at the slaughter ranch doing bees on the other side of Douglas and at a further ranch out there. And, you know, it was endless miles of dirt, stop, open up the gate, close the gate, go another mile. You know how it is out here. The damn bees chased our truck for 10 miles. Horrifying, actually. And yeah, of course we knew, yeah, we drive around in the truck with the bee suit on all the time. We never get pulled over for some reason. Anyway, but they chased our truck for 10 miles on that one. It's just unbelievable. Again, no more underwater stuff. They kill a dog, a horse, or a goat per week. They have more guard bees, and they overpower European hives or weaker Africanized hives. Again, not every Africanized hive behaves the same all the time. Some are genetically stronger or just damn mean. And they will come in and actually kill all the bees in a neighboring hive and even sting them, pupate to death through the caps on the cells, and either steal all the honey and go home, or much worse, move in. And that's how, if you're keeping bees in your backyard, your nice hive can become Africanized in a couple hours. And you don't know, they look the same. Which we have a video of that actually. It happened 2 years ago up the Gulch in Bisbee. You guys probably heard about that one. So I've actually seen these Africanized hives. I've seen them come out of a hole that diameter in 1,000 per second. Like somebody turned on a high pressure water hose. I think that the videos come up. Okay. Well, of course, when a feral hive or swarm is discovered, the old days of seeing a ball of bees in a tree and, oh, let's give it a couple days, they'll move on. No, not anymore. 2 problems with that. If they do, no throwing rocks. I saw that. One of the firefighters back there was like, just throw a rock at him. No, you don't. Don't do that. You've got Killer Bee Nation, calm down. Anyway, okay, if they do leave, where the hell did they go? Did they move under your neighbor's shed or your shed? All right. Also, a hive like that, swarm like that, never used to be aggressive. They are now. Swarms are aggressive now. All right. On top of that, the worst part of it is if a kid walks by and throws a rock at them and gets stung, you're liable. There we go. Arizona Revised Statute 36-601. Get rid of them when you see them. That's what we're preaching now. Yeah, it's just mitigating the threat. I mean, why let your tires get bald? You can replace them before they get bald. Same thing with this. Don't let these bees kill anybody or move somewhere you don't know where the hell we went. And they're bad for our environment anyway, our native environment. And of course, warn everybody about it. I mean, we go door to door all the time when we're in populated areas. Schools. Do I need to remind you guys about that? Elfrida High School last summer, 21 students attacked and stung up here. Scared the living hell out of everybody. And, speaking of throwing rocks, you know why these bees lit up? Yeah, they were about 15 foot up in that tree out in front of the school, and some little boys were throwing rocks at them. I swear, you guys, there's not enough chlorine in the gene pool sometimes. You know, I'm just saying. It's like, good grief. And stung 21 kids, for crying out loud. Oh my God. So, of course, nobody unlicensed should do this at all. Of course, it's illegal, you know that. I mean, any kind of, it used to be if you used pesticide or not. And I got away with it for years, but they changed the law. It's if you advertise and or charge. That's when it's illegal to do any kind of pest removal for anybody. They want you part of the club, of course, and we are. And we actually teach for them now, so. This is, we hear this all the time. Oh, but they're just honeybees. Okay, let's see how these honeybees can behave. This was up in Portal.
Oh, they're pouring out. There's so many, Reed.
Where are they pouring out of? That's
down below. Hold on, I'm almost there.
Okay. Oh yeah, loosen one up. Where?
In the side. I'm okay. It's the damn it sting.
Alright. Host just got a damn it sting. They do. Alright, come on down. I can take a peek at it.
Hold on, let me get this open here.
Alright. And this is just deadly. I mean, this is horrible. Oh, gracious. I gotta get my spray adhesive going here. Man. Killer bees, do not predators at home.
Wilcox Hospital. Almost killed the man. mowing the lawn. Pushing out heavy. A lot of bees. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. Oh my god, turn out so long. Alright, I've got to get this going and knock down some of these. We're in a very populated area here. And I gotta get this whole thing going because this is really ridiculous and dangerous.
Yes, sir?
It's really dangerous.
What kind of business?
Oh. Yeah.
That's one thing in my ear, it goes with beef.
Ah.
I'm scared.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of bees.
Yeah, they're just honeybees. Oh my god. It's so hard. One of the hardest things we have to do is educate people about these things. That they're an invasive species. Like I said, the Winnie the Pooh thing, you know what I mean? So, if it's angry, of course, like up here at the high school or anywhere you encounter them, run in a straight line. You got to get into a vehicle. We always say cover your head and head for cover. We teach and do removals for Forest Service, state parks, etc. And if you're out in the middle of nowhere, go back the way you came really, really quickly. And you know how they say if a bee bounces off of you, it's a warning shot? That's a missed shot. They aren't nice. They aren't warning anybody anymore. That's a missed shot. It's a total kamikaze mission. So don't jump into water, of course. But you know, we have watched guys getting attacked by bees run right past an open truck door, right down the street, just like they're gonna outrun them. Get into a vehicle. It's better to be inside a vehicle with a couple hundred than outside with 100,000. But I have understood that when you get attacked, your legs don't give a shit who's above the waist. We're out of here. We're off the roof. We're out in front of traffic. We don't care. And it's literally, it's not fight or flight, it's flight or flight. We're out of here. It's really hard to think when you're being attacked like that. You know, a lot of people here know that personally. It's really hard to think. So, this is the case against managed hives. One hive up Brewery Gulch, up past Mimosa Market up there. Quite a ways up past Elmo's. I say that because everybody knows where Elmo's is. By the time we got there, they were stinging everyone within a 750-yard radius. One hive became Africanized due to World War B because a neighboring hive came in and killed all the bees and moved in. So check this out. A lot of bleeps, by the way.
Back this up a little bit, if you can get some spray adhesive out when I stop. Harry! Yeah, nice, huh? Were these yours? Oh, right. Where's everybody? Okay, Killer Bee Nation, we got a huge attack right now. Up the Gulch in Bisbee, someone had a beehive up here. They were keeping, please don't keep bees in Arizona. Where are we going, Harry, further? Yeah, it's up behind. What's going on up there?
Big hive up there.
All right.
They're pretty pissed.
Just, I went to, because it's misting with the rain, I haven't right in my house.
Well, they're all Africanized in the state, as you well know now. All right. Is anybody hospitalized yet?
No, we have one person getting ready to go.
All right. Well, we're out of the way back there. There's the police behind us.
Perfect.
Let's go get. We're going to kill this hive. You know that. Okay. Let's go get a Fendona. This Fendona, we got to put him down. Down. All right, Killer Bee Nation. We've got a serious incident here. So you just had the one hive? Yeah.
So we're going to block out from young people.
Perfect. You might even need to go further.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk up. Is there?
Get as close as you can, so when we get her out, we can throw her in.
Yeah.
Have they got her on her grip yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. We'll go up with you in a minute. If of course anybody peeks their heads out, tell them to get the hell inside. Coach, we're going to create. There's a patient in this house here, and we need to create a wall of spray adhesive so they can get them into the ambulance.
Okay.
We're basically going to create spray adhesive so they can get them from this house into this ambulance as soon as close enough. Let me know when you're in position. All right, I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to communicate. Hi, honey, how are you? Yeah, not so hot. All right, we're going to line this up. Now, I'm going to make a wall of safety. all right, with the spray adhesive so that we can get you out to the ambulance, okay? The only way to go, of course, is through here. This is spray adhesive, it's non-toxic, all right? We basically drop them like rocks.
Okay.
And so we're gonna make a wall, as soon as he gets back around close enough and the back door closed, and you guys can get her out, all right? We gotta make sure the dog is out of the way. When they bring her out, all right, you and I are gonna walk ahead and to the side.
Okay.
And we're gonna be doing this. We're gonna knock him down, knock him down, knock him out. She's already taken a lot of stings. So let's get started with that right now. Knock him down, knock him down. You're still gonna have a few out here. You're still gonna have a few out here. Cover her head. All right, let's go. We're just gonna knock him down. We're gonna walk as close. All right, there you go. I'm gonna get a little bit behind you and to your side. There you go. Push, stay closer, stay closer. There you go. You're doing good. You're doing great. Oh, you're doing great. You are. You're doing awesome. Okay, stay ahead. Get down on the side, on the street level. Push and knock him down near her. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go in the side. Look at that. You get the VIP. You get the VIB treatment. There you go, hon. Hurry, 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 hurry. Hurry, hurry, hurry. All right, gentlemen. Okay. Holy we're gonna go up and kill some bees. All right. Alright, Killer Bee Nation, we're going to put the box on this side. How far up is it? Let's go ahead and go up. And we're going to make quick work of this, putting them down.
That's 400 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Straight through.
And did you know these bees are in all the lower 48 states now? So when I tell people that we rescue the fire department from these things, this is what I mean. I'm going to pop this off, see if I do my pop the top work, save my pyrotion. Okay, now they're in escape mode. Okay, this is working really well, because now they are escaping in let's get the hell out of here mode. Not, yeah. And I'm hoping that we can continue that down below. Damn repeat of in 1998, we had the worst stinging incident in the world to this day. Do you have a hive tool? All right, Killer Bee Nation. Absolutely ridiculous. So we're killing everything. We're trying to knock them as much as we can. This is working really well. Thank you very much. Well, I was lucky for you, we worked in Wilcox. We'll break loose, not been looked at in a long time. That's all right. That's all right, they're in death mode. Thank you. And we got to make sure the firemen are okay, we're getting stoned too. All right, here, hive tools there. All right, here we go. You have a beautiful yard, by the way. I mean, absolutely wonderful. All right.
The venom talking.
Okay, Hosh,
Yep.
we will be wanting more spray adhesive, of course. Now, this worked so well that I don't even have any on me right now. All right. The problem is where the stinging incidents happened, and I say plural, there, the pheromone is there. And so although that hive is officially dead, there's still a lot of angry white blood cells flying around. Ouch. All right, well, they got her to the hospital apparently. All right, so this is good. They're actually tapering off. You know what, Hosh, I'm gonna get out spray adhesive, knock down these guys. Oh my God. All right, hive is dead. Yeah, the threat is about at the 85% containment level right now.
Okay.
How's it looking down there as far as activity?
So basically from your truck back, there's not really nothing.
That's awesome. Then we can continue to knock them out. What do you think of this stuff?
That's it. Mr. Booth, how long do you think?
Before you can open it up?
Yeah, you can open it up.
Sundown.
To sundown?
Yeah. Okay. This is not safe for anybody to walk for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the most that I'm worried about. It's that one for that person that's allergic.
Yeah.
And then they take your house and car and everything else. And in the state of Arizona, the state hates these things, well, you know that. And I'm not too fond myself. Totally unnecessary. Oh my God. I hope the lady lives. She got stung more than 5 or 6 times, that's for damn sure. People kicking bees are just honeybees. You heard the gal. Well, a week ago they were fine. We're gonna wrap this up. Brewery Gulch, beautiful Bisbee, Arizona. It's safe now, you can come visit. This poor woman. She was in her hive a month ago without a suit on. And they were just as nice as could be. And now she got in her suit. And thank God she put on her suit and tried to, because it was tipping over a little bit, tried to straighten it up. And obviously all hell broke loose. And they sent at least one person to the hospital. So we're going to wrap it up here. Hosh, say goodbye. Oh my God, we have had a hell of a day of it, you guys. You can always go to buysomehoney.killerbegat.com and follow us, please. Look at this. Get out of here. What do you guys? Thanks for coming along on our adventures. There's more.
Yeah.
Back this up.
So we've been working with Kathy Childress up in Benson. She's a nurse, a training nurse up there for CHI. And we'll get into that a bit. Now, this is more that's about what to do if you come upon a stinging victim. When you guys show up, all right, this is kind of new territory, because what the hell do you do when you show up? Well, first of all, we're going to make it very clear that a dead EMT or first responder isn't good to anybody, right? And these bees don't give a shit how good looking we are with our uniforms. They just don't care. It's really disappointing, actually. So do you guys have bee suits?
We do have bee suits, but as Serge said, when they get wet, because we do use the foaming.
Stick to your skin.
Yeah.
They don't melt, they're not paper.
No.
No, they just stick to your skin. Yeah, see, our suits are, very expensive and thicker, and they still, we can sting through them, obviously, but, okay, if you have, you have turnouts and some sort of head protection, of course, but this is why this is important. When you're driving up to the stinging incident, you need to assess the situation, and that's aggression. Yes, the person's getting attacked or has been attacked, maybe unresponsive on the ground, but are the bees hitting your windshield? Because if they are, you don't want to hop out. They're gonna kill you, right? There's 100,000 bees out there. A person that's completely covered in bees where you can't see any skin might have 3,000 bees on them. That's it. You got 100,000 of these little monsters flying around. So assess the situation when you're driving up. It's not just about the victim, it's about you guys not dying or getting injured also. Of course, if anybody's allergic, don't even go on the call. Stay here, The main thing is, if you see somebody that's, 50 yards away getting stung, don't hop out and go running over to them. You're gonna die. 10 feet is the max. Yeah, I'm sorry to say it is. We always recommend now, get on the PA and call them over. If they're responsive at all, have them come toward the truck. They will gladly, as long as they have some direction. When you're getting attacked like that, you're drowning. And you don't know what's up or what's down. But if you have a voice, if you have a focus, the victim can and will come to the truck. Of course, if they can get to the truck, you open the door and throw them in, do it. You're going to get stung. Everyone's going to get stung. Let's just know that right off the bat. I don't know if you guys remember last year, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, up at the Dragoon and 191, where that father-son team got attacked. And the son took 300 stings and lived. The father took over 1,000 stings and lived. He was unresponsive when some sites fire showed up. Unresponsive. They loaded up the syringes in the truck and ran out and jabbed him in the ass and ran back. Everybody got stung, right? And then a deputy showed up with a couple of fire extinguishers and blazed a path, kind of like we did there. Got him in the truck. Everyone in the truck got stung. Got him to Wilcox. Everybody in the hospital got stung. Got him in the air ambulance. Everybody in the helicopter got stung. Got him up to Tucson. Everybody got stung. These bees will sting. So if you can, get within 10 feet. It really is the best because then you can actually hop out if they're unresponsive and throw them. None of this stretcher thing. You've got to grab them by the ass and throw them in. That's all. You can't really take any time to do this. It's just immediate, you know. Get them in the truck. Everybody's going to get stung. The next thing is getting the stingers out. All right. Once they're inside, of course, you got to, figure out if they're having anaphylactic reaction, localized or allergic. Now, anaphylactic, that's when you're going to administer your epinephrine, all right? Your Benadryl, corticosteroids, in case of an allergic reaction, that's not anaphylactic, as you guys know, all right? Anaphylaxis is closing of the throat. You know the symptoms. And then there's, of course, localized, like a reaction, like swelling and whatnot. And something as simple as ice can really help with that a lot. Benadryl. I recommend everybody carry Benadryl in your pocket. Everybody out here in the desert Southwest. Because I don't care what bites, stings, or stabs you, because everything wants to out here, bite, sting, and stab. An ant, maybe you're allergic, honeybees, whatever, Benadryl can actually stave off the undertaker until you can get to the hospital. All right, you guys know that. Now, the other big important thing is, well, like I was saying before, the stinger is a hypo. It's a hypodermic needle. And the bee disembowels herself and leaves that stinger stuck in your hide. And without her, autonomously, those venom sacs will pump venom into you for up to 5 minutes. Autonomously. So remember, hypodermic needle. So if you get out your tweezers or you grab them with your fingers, you pinch it, you get a full dose. Don't pinch them. That's why we always say scrape. And they're hard to scrape out, to be honest with you, because of the barbs. They really are a pain in the ass, or wherever they get you. Credit card, well, that's just because it's just, let me find one here while you're dying. No, scrape everything out. The sooner you can scrape the stingers out, the better. Less venom goes into the victim. That's just that simple. And of course, we've all, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, and it's horrifying, but I've seen, people's mouths full of stingers, noses, ears. One guy that we knew over in Sierra Vista, over by that really old lumber yard up there in 7th, he got stung in his eardrum. Does that sound like a special kind of hell or not? Oh my God. They try to invade everywhere that they can. So do the best you can, of course, and get them to the hospital like anything else would be. And again, and always follow your local protocols. You guys have your ways of coming up on an emergency system. This killer bee thing is relatively new as from a standpoint of first responders. Fires, you guys know about. You know what to do. You've got it all figured out. Absolutely wonderful. We've all come on stinging incidents in the last 30 years since these Africanized bees have been here. Now it's getting more and more frequent, in case anybody hasn't noticed. It's becoming weekly at least, and it's going to become daily. We are getting calls daily of attacks now, and it's horrifying. So it's becoming more of a prevalent subject with first responders to what do we do? This is new. This critter, these Africanized bees, this threat has never existed on the planet before, ever. We're at the forefront of an invasion, literally. And so people all over the country are using our videos for training for fire departments, first responders, etc., because now they're in all the lower 48. They're everywhere. It may not be the 100% level that we have here, but it will be shortly. I have about an 8-year idea or 5 to 8 years before all of them in the lower, all the feral unmanaged hives in the lower 48 are Africanized. Horrifying, but true. So follow your local protocols, of course. And that pretty much wraps up our presentation. We are open to Q&A. Question and answers, in case anybody didn't know what that was. Anyway, anybody get that? Yeah.
If we're on a wildland fire,
yeah,
and we start to get attacked by bees, would it be good to get into smoke? Is smoke going to dissipate?
That's why we don't use smoke. These bees don't care.
It doesn't matter.
It's really horrifying, actually. I call them a worthy opponent, these bees. If Well, we used to use smoke. I haven't used smoke for about 13, 14 years because it just doesn't. They don't care. They just don't care about it. And so why carry extra equipment on the truck and take all the time and whatnot to do it? And of course, there's always a risk of fire. But yeah, no, I wish smoke worked. The main thing is get out of there and no more zigzagging it. Cover your head and head for cover. You know, something as simple for hikers or campers or you know, people out in wildland. You know those little nets you can get that are mosquito nets you can drape over your face because they go for your CO2, they go for your face. If you can protect your face enough so that you can see where you're going on the trail and run, yeah, you stand a better chance. Yeah, I said better. Nothing guaranteed with these damn things, right? So who's got some other thoughts? Wishes?
In that one beehive you were killing, you use adhesive.
Mm-hmm.
But you were showing you were spraying, it was a straight shot, was that
Pyrethrin,
adhesive?
yeah, that's a
That was
contact
spraying?
kill. Yep,
Okay.
that's pyrethrin. We use Fendona, Tri-Dye. We have different, and now, this is a new thing also within the pesticide industry. Read your labels, as everyone knows. If, you know, the label's the law. If the target pest is not on the label, you can't use it for that, whatever you're using. Bees never used to be on any pesticide label, ever, because they were said Winnie the Pooh, you know. Now, they're coming out with a lot more products that have bees on the label, along with wasps, hornets, bedbugs, whatever they are targeted for. But bees are on a lot more labels. Thank you, pesticide industry, because I was having to make shit up there. It's like, you know, what am I going to use to kill these things? I couldn't use pesticides legally, and so I didn't, you know. It used to be the soapy water thing, right? Well, I learned pretty quickly from the customer that soapy water and drywall don't go together too well. And so if the bees are up in a eaves or a soffit and I'm spraying, I had power washer and all that crap, you know, and then they called me back later and said, yeah, my ceiling fell in the bedroom. Oh, so we don't use soapy water anymore. It was like, huh? I didn't have anything to do with it. You know, so soapy water, smoke, there's certain things we just don't use because if it worked, we would use it type of deal. So yeah, it's a direct contact crack and crevice pesticide, yeah, which, you know.
I used to work with a water company and I ran into a lot of
the boxes.
The boxes.
Oh,
So
man.
I would go early when it was cold, slowly, and drop a bomb in there and close it. Come back the next day.
Was that an M80 or just a?
No, but it would do the trick.
You know, people are always saying to us endlessly, and Killer Bee Nation, if you want to send us a flamethrower, please do. It's called an exothermic. It shoots 30 feet. I would love to have a couple of those in case the zombies come up the driveway, but they're not for bees. No fires in the desert. We're in that firehouse here, you guys. These are firefighters. They're going to spank you. Everybody's like, why didn't you burn the trailer down? Oh my God. You ever heard of wildfires, anybody? What the hell, you know? LA's burning, Cochise County's burning, oh my God. You know what they want? They want a barbecue. Thank you, all right, already, anyway. I thought I said barbecue, okay, never mind. Anyway, any other thoughts? Questions? Thank you,
How much does
guys.
that spray cost that you guys are using that?
The pyrethrin?
Yeah.
They're $25 a can, something like that. Yeah. Then don't try this at home. What are you getting at?
I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's not cheap. You know, any of this stuff. You know, the bee suits aren't cheap. Our Killer Bee Nation actually buys us our bee suits and a lot of our supplies and stuff because they realize the battles that we go through. Literally, yes, we may do it irreverently and we do swear like sailors in bee suits. Okay, fine. But it's still expensive, and the people who watch us regularly on YouTube, our Killer Bee Nation, we call them, very supportive of our cause, of what we do. And we're basically pro-native pollinator. That's what it boils down to. And keeping people and animals alive from these deadly little bastards. So thank you guys so much for sitting through our shenanigans. Because it was so much fun, we had to shenan again. So you guys have our number. Thank you. I have one person applauding. There we go. Thank you.
That was the one person I paid before the presentation to clap for you. The one person I paid before the presentation to clap for you. Yeah.
Did she give you that $5? Yeah, look at me. Oh, Killer Bee Nation, thank you so much for joining us. We have got calls coming out of our call. I'm afraid to look at my phone. But we're going to be busy. I mean, you guys need us. You're at the fire department. You got our number and any questions I mean, civilians, people, you know, oh, I've got this hive under my trailer. It's, oh my God, you know, they haven't bothered anybody. You're living with the devil. And I mean the bees, not the spouse, you know.
What is your
What?
guys', what is your guys' number?
520-227-5429. Speed dial. I never thought that living in Bisbee, I would voluntarily call up all the local law enforcement in the county twice a year to make sure they had my correct number. The hell's it about? I've been around here a long time. All right, Killer Bee Nation, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to cut out and go see what kind of shenanigans we get into. There's a lot more to do, and we are busy all day tomorrow. Plus, Wednesday, we have another session, another training session with Fry Fire over in Sierra Vista. And so you're going to come along on that one, of course. And then we got a big one if you guys are out in Rodeo at the Desert Museum coming up in a couple of weeks. And that'll be a big one. Yeah, they're going to be people from all over New Mexico there and everything. And they got quite a nice venue out there. So thank you so much, guys. We're going to wrap it up.
Thank you.
Thank you.